friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm here today for another video in my Grow Your Own series. And today it's going to be about potassium. So this is the third installment. Even though I started it years ago, I actually forgot about this series. And I started with magnesium. My next video that I did more recently was how to grow in your own calcium. And today, again, it's about potassium. Now, before I get into the list of these items, one thing you got to keep in mind is that when it comes to any of these minerals, the more you can get from food is going to be best, especially when we're talking about things like potassium and calcium, because you can, and I would even say magnesium, despite what people say, that you can overdo it on any of these. So whenever you're taking supplements, especially when you're taking them individually, it's too easy to overdose on it. And all these minerals, in particular, calcium, magnesium, and potassium, which is why these are the first three I've been covering, they are meant to work in conjunction with each other. So when we're looking at our different foods that we can find them in, most often you're going to find either calcium and magnesium together, magnesium and potassium together, or potassium and calcium together, or most commonly, all three of them in that same herb, fruit, or vegetable. So while sometimes supplementation may be necessary, especially when you're dealing with certain health issues and trying to heal from them, such as taking higher doses of vitamin C when you have a knee injury and you're trying to hurry up, speed up the healing, that can be very beneficial. Or it's the middle of winter and you know your vitamin D levels are low, supplementing with vitamin D. Any of these things, you can overdo it. And I learned recently that you can overdo it on vitamin D as a supplement. And I'll be talking about that in a separate video. But anyway, this is why I'm doing this. Now, also keep in mind that some of the foods I'm going to be bringing up, you might not be able to grow your own. Some of these things, most people here in the U.S. cannot grow at all. And but I also realize I have people from all over the world and from many different climates that should be able to grow those items. And everyone should find something that can grow for them. And again, it's all going to depend on your location, your climate, and so on. So let's start off by reading the fruits. So we've got bananas, oranges, grapefruit, honeydew melon, apricots, avocados especially, and watermelon. Now, most of the things on my list don't grow well for us in this area or at all. But as far as the fruits go, there you go for those people who live in the warmer climates and can grow these things well. Now, moving on to vegetables in particular. Now, this is where there's a lot of things in here that we can grow. So you've got your leafy greens, but specifically Swiss chard and spinach. And then also broccoli. And this one just thrilled me, and that is potatoes. So that's any potatoes, and that includes sweet potatoes. Though we can't grow sweet potatoes very good here, we can grow all kinds of yellow potatoes and red potatoes and purple potatoes. Those all do great for us. Typically, when you're looking at something that has the most color in it, the more color something has, usually you're going to have more antioxidants and more minerals. So red potatoes, purple potatoes, and yellow potatoes, those are great. And of course, your sweet potatoes have color to them as well. And we also know they're high in vitamin A. Moving on, we have mushrooms, peas, cucumbers. Oh, these ones thrill me because I can grow cucumbers and peas like crazy. And zucchini, which is also on the list. We do great growing zucchini here for sure. Pumpkins, tomatoes, one of the very first and favorite items that I grow. Most of your legumes, but specifically the ones highest on the list of legumes would be your white beans and your Otsuki beans. Also, sunflower seeds. I think most of your squash, because I already mentioned pumpkin, but acorn squash was one of those also specifically on the list. Beets and beet greens. And parsnips. So I'm sure there's a lot more other foods out there that have good levels of potassium, but some of the ones that were highest on the list were the beet greens, avocados, bananas, of course, because everybody knows that one, spinach, and the white beans. Even though we're talking about grow your own, I realize not everybody can have a garden, and you have to buy your produce either locally from farmers markets or friends or even at the supermarket. And so with that, some of these things people could probably grow their own, but just other things to keep in mind is, let's talk about the meats. So fish, pretty much a lot of your seafood in particular is high in potassium and also in magnesium. More specifically, that would be tuna, halibut, cod, trout, rockfish, salmon, and clams. And then a lot of your dairy products as well. And yogurt was one of those that was most often mentioned in that. And then another one is molasses. So if you're one who likes molasses, the reason molasses is so dark, and it might even have a bit of a bitter flavor, is that it is a very high in minerals, and potassium is one of those many minerals that you'll find in there. So when it comes to molasses, the two main ways I use it is in making my own brown sugar for baking. So you just mix it in with your organic blonde cane sugar. You're basically just putting that molasses back in there. And I mix that in really well first, and then I'll use it in baking instead of storing brown sugar. But if every once in a while, though I'm not a milk drinker, never have been, every once in a while I'll get a craving, and it will be for molasses milk. It was something that just hit me one day. I really felt like I would like that, and I tried it and I loved it. And so every so often I will have a glass of molasses milk. So instead of chocolate milk or strawberry milk or something like that, I just take a spoonful of molasses and mix it in with a small glass of milk and then drink that down. And it's a good way I can get those minerals, including the extra calcium that I'd get in the milk as well. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed my video, and don't forget to check out the playlist, even though it's only got 3 so far as the time I'm shooting this video, that I'll be putting down below, and I do plan on covering more as we go along. So things to consider growing or stocking up on and putting up for your own uses to help add more nutrients to your diet. All right, well, thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.